Hello, I'm Andrew Wilson in Davos with TBD Media. We're looking at the world of tomorrow, a world where the energy market is undergoing extreme change. LekOil is an African company managed by Nigerian nationals with the ambition to one day become the world's leading exploration and production company focused on Africa. It's an ambition, they say, that involves embracing a global perspective and at the same time developing partnerships with local economies. Lekan, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us. The LekOil proposition sounds like an ambitious one, is it?
It definitely is, yes.
In what way?
You see, it's one thing to start an oil company, but if we're just starting another oil company, then you're not different from everybody else. So what I was hoping to do and what we've started to do is make a difference in people's lives. What do I mean? To the extent that we're going to develop the resources that already exist in these areas, you have to have a strategy that also carries the community along and changes their lives. If we're not doing that, then there's no differentiation.
So exploration is in the Niger Delta. There's a history behind that, which has been quite antagonistic. So presumably you want to distance yourself from the past and bring something new.
Yes, but we're not only focused on the Niger Delta. In fact, our largest asset is outside the Niger Delta. It's actually offshore Lagos. And it's a whole new basin that everybody thought had nothing. I mean, the majors had been in Nigeria for over half a century and missed the whole basin. And we're the pioneers in actually opening up that basin. So that's part of it. But we do have assets in the Delta as well. And when you're in the Delta, I mean, you talked about what's been happening historically. We're going in there with a different model, with a mindset that says when you get an asset, you're getting the community with it. So your whole strategy has to include the community. If you're not doing that, then your success will be short-lived.
Give us an idea about how that strategy might play out in terms of working with the community.
So I'll give you an example. Otakikpo field, the field that we're producing from now. When we farmed in 2014, the first thing we did, even before we did any work, was, first of all, just to soften things. We went in as a non-profit, actually, just doing medical outreaches, just trying to understand what the needs of the community are. After that, we signed an MOU whereby we actually have a trust fund that is run by a group that is partly our team, partly our partners, partly the community. Projects are chosen by the board, very transparent, and then what is chosen, we act on it. Everybody knows who the contract was awarded to, how it was being implemented, and so on. So they can actually see an impact. But that's just the first step. The second step now is that we're producing oil, we're producing some gas. I'm always just irritated by the whole gas flaring that is going on in the Niger Delta or in other oil-producing areas, especially in a place where you have energy poverty. So on one hand, you're flaring all this gas, and the people that are living in the vicinity of this place have no power. And that's the source of power that you're flaring. So one of the things we've done, we've bought some power plants and produced some power to the community. That way, if our installation goes down, the lights go out. If we stay on, the lights go on. So alignment.
Sustainability, of course, is something that all companies nowadays are concerned about, and the gas flaring is one element of that.
Yes.
And I'm sure the local community would thank you for that. But going on, looking ahead, can you keep an oil exploration company sustainable these days?
I believe you can. And I believe it's all about mindset and about foundation. The first thing you got to do is stop denying that there's an issue. There is an issue. But at the same time, the changeover from fossil fuels into what some people consider alternative energy or cleaner fuels, it's a multi-decade, probably multi-century thing. So fossil fuel industry will still be relevant. I believe for the rest of our lives it will still be. But what we now need to do is to now figure out ways, number one, whatever you're producing from fossil fuels, be very responsible, not just in the production process, be very efficient in terms of the demand, what's driving the demand. That's one side of it. And then the other side is, historically, a lot of fossil fuel companies have produced the oil and fled the gas. It should actually be the other. It's actually the gas that is more efficient. Just from it, it's friendlier to the environment. So we need to shift our focus there as an industry. But from our perspective as LekOil, one of the things that actually helps us is that a good chunk of our portfolio is actually gas. So we're already well on our way.
Well, I was going to say, because the trends that you might be confronting will be the growth of renewables and renewable energies and renewable technology, and also a change in the market forces that drive the fossil fuel industry.
Even before that happened, we were already looking at a potential crisis where the fossil fuel industry was not going to be able to meet the energy demand of the world. I mean, there's some numbers that I always run. If you look at per capita consumption of oil, so the average American runs maybe 25, 26 barrels per year per person. In Europe, in Singapore, in most developed countries, that number is around 14. In China, you're probably between 2 and 3. World average is 4. To move China to the world average, you need another Saudi Arabia. So we were never going to be in a place to actually solve the world's energy needs with fossil fuels. We actually need the renewables, the alternatives. It's not going to be a smooth process, So there will be discontinuities. The pendulum will swing both ways. But I think it's short-sighted to just ignore the fossil fuel industry completely and go to renewable, or vice versa. You need to have a portfolio that mixes the two.
In terms of your presence on the ground then in Nigeria, you're not a multinational coming in, you're an African company, Nigerian staff.
Correct.
That's going to make a difference, isn't it?
I think it does, especially if you look at the knowledge base that is available in Nigeria. So Nigeria has been producing oil and developing people and training people for decades. I think Shell came to Nigeria in the 30s. So we have people that are very educated, very knowledgeable, and in any aspect of the oil and gas industry.
Looking down the line, your comments about fossil fuel and the inevitability of that energy supply, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the long-term vision for what's coming down the line for all of our societies around the planet? If we are going to keep relying on fossil fuel to the extent that perhaps you imply, is that problematic, or do you think we'll make our way through it?
I think we'll make our way through it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of brinksmanship. It's just human nature. This is a solution that needs everybody. And trying to ignore or exclude a huge portion of the industry, of the world, and of the money, by the way, coming from fossil fuels is not the most efficient way to solve this. So we do need a solution that is all-inclusive.
So you remain optimistic?
Oh, absolutely.
Lekan, pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.